Welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. Nistu Nidaniko Makoyo Sakoyi. It's my second Blackfoot name. It means the Milky Way or the Wolf Trail or Medicine Trail. So, welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. Woohoo! I just came. How many of you been outside? It is wind blowing here. We just got a text from my brother's new house. A big old tree fell but missed the house. It's giant, and that tree has been there for centuries. Native Wellness Institute is on board with some Canadians, some Puyallup, some Californians, a guy in New York. We're doing healthy relationships, so I just stepped away so I could come on. And woohoo! Okay. I went outside because I had to put more wood in the wood stove. So this is when you don't want your hair blowing around, you wear these kind of hats, and I have my fox hat, my beaver hat, and I just went out and got some chopped wood, and I burned wood stove is my heat here, and I went out and I put out some tobacco, because I also have propane, but I just put it by the propane tanks. I have to put in 1,500 gallons of propane at the beginning of winter, and that'll usually last till August for when I don't burn wood. Because Nistu Nitsitapi, my ancestors used to be in a lodge with buffalo robes and make fire. And I'm not saying, but I like living like this. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And so the topic for today is healthy relationship with our earth. It could be healthy because if you have a healthy relationship with the earth, all your other relationships will improve. If you have a healthy relationship with water and pray with your water, we're 70% water, pray to the water, keep the water clean, thank the water for life. Thank the water that it's precious. It'll help everything that depends on water. If you love wind, because Sapu, wind maker, and this Lower St. Mary's wind maker made all this stuff. And wind makers out, they were saying 80 mile per hour winds or more yesterday, so they had to delay school buses by 2 hours, And so these things of the earth, a time when it snows, it's first of all, it's free snow, free rain, free water, free water. You don't have to buy it in a bottle. Captured water. But think about the dirt. I just went out and I could see my tracks. We're only wearing mucks. And here we wear mucks that, go to 10 below, 20 below Fahrenheit. And then you bring out your big mucks that go to 60 below. It hasn't been 60 below in a while, but 1 January here where I live, all of January was 50 below Fahrenheit, all month. And so you learn disciplined living, a healthy relationship with the earth, healthy relationship with your logs, healthy relationship. Even, I went out and my brother's sweat when he was living home before he had to go for work. All his sweat rocks are out there piled, and we only use a certain kind of rock. And so I always go and I put out tobacco. And I was putting out tobacco because I heard, that there's flooding. I heard that there's atmospheric rivers I heard that, and this affects you. That's why you have crazy people shooting each other, because the water in them is toxic. The water inside the shooter is toxic because they've been around toxic, and they forgot to pray. They forgot to self-regulate. They forgot to develop an emotional IQ and to have a support system around them. That's why, it's just good. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Native Wellness Institute, we've been in existence since 1980. We've been a 501c3 for going on the 26th year soon here. We're an all-native board, all-native staff, and all-native consultants. And I can safely say we have no pretendance. Hey, once in a while, I always try to pretend to be white for one day. It never works. I always go out and walk around like I have white privilege. And I get out my card and I tap it. And then I flaunt my diamonds. And then I talk about going to Hawaii, and then I talk about playing golf, all these white things, It don't work. I can't pretend I'm white. So I was saying it with humor, because the color of your skin matters, and the, like the roundness in your cheeks and whatever, like an Indian body, buffalo hips and antelope legs. I got it. And they be looking good because they're badass buffalo hips and antelope legs. Woohoo! So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We're at a time, we're shifting, because the solstice is in the AM on the 21st of December. So our Earth is talking to us. It's not a bad thing. The Earth is just saying, hey, you got to take better care of me. Hey, you got to grow your tobacco. Hey, you got to harvest your medicines. Hey, you got to pray with the water. Hey, you got to pray with the black badger dirt, the black clean dirt. Sakum, the earth, you gotta pray, and the earth is, so it's gonna, little earthquake, little atmospheric, our universe. That's why you gotta get ready. Say your prayers. Say your prayers to the earth tilting and shifting and talking to us. Talk back to the earth. Thank it for everything you have. Thank it for your iPhone. Thank it for your technology. Thank it for your electricity. Thank it for all of the love in your kinship, the love of your grandchildren, the love of your cousins, the love of your parents, how they raised you. And if your parents aren't here, maintain their legacy. What did they do? Maintain the good parts of their legacy and break the patterns. That's wellness. And it starts with taking care of our earth. It starts with knowing the 4 seasons. And sometimes the seasons are a little bit tilted, and it's a little bit off. A lake that should be frozen, not froze up yet. A blizzard that just comes in, and none of your Teslas work, eh? Okay, there's one for you. Build me a Tesla that can go in 60 below and up and down mountains with no problem. Because that's a war pony. Anyway, but think about, I was just thinking of that the earth is self-regulating. Like how we self-regulate and we get serenity. And you can't do that when you got drugs and alcohol in your body. So knock it off. Get rid of the drugs and alcohol. When the earth is self-regulating. So self-regulating is when we can get calm. We can choose calm with songs, with dance, with music, with storytelling, with prayers, with burning of smudge and medicine. You know, just even right now, that I remember one of my mentors, he said, if you don't know what to do, just light a smudge. Light a smudge. You know, and so I was looking at, I still have some Omegussis. I harvest Omegussis, the big medicine. I got that transferite from Larry Grounds, Alcy, Rick Grounds. And so I I got that transferite. And then I got some grandfather root over there. We call it grandfather root, a cow parsnip, eh? And I'm looking at it right over, sitting with the 6 personal pipes I carry. And so whatever you carry, whatever, you know, if it's a clap or if it's a pipe, if it's a rattle, if it's a bundle. And think about, like, our earth is a big bundle. We got to take care of that bundle. We have to be good to it. We have to put out in those 4 seasons. It's just like now I put out some tobacco. I have a lot of Savisberry, Saskatoon berries in this area because my brother cleared out some of the trees. I just have, I'm surrounded by chokecherries around all my house. I'm surrounded by Wilbur Fish used to say, I live in a pharmacy. But I went out, and that's part of, in those 4 seasons, there's not berries out there. There's kind of some rose hips that you could see a little bit of color. But you go out there, and how you take care of the earth is do your best to grow your own tobacco or get grown tobacco that doesn't have chemicals. But, you know, tobacco is tobacco. a line from Meadowlarks. Tobacco is tobacco. Even if you just have a cigarette, take your tobacco, the highest offering to Ishtabatapiyo, or God, or Tankashala, or Akparadia, or Mahio, or Buddha, and you know, and or Jesus, however you, and take that tobacco out and say prayers for the earth. Say prayers that underground water, that the aquifer is clean and that it flows. Say prayers for the little bubbling volcanoes. Say prayers for, you know, the snow that comes and melts in the springtime. Say prayers for all your elders, that they get to see the springtime first blade of green grass. Say prayers like I did with those. I was just putting out the tobacco because along there's chokecherries and Savisberries, and there's Minneguppy, and then there's licorice root. I have a lot of licorice root, and the licorice root, the boxique, the grizzly bear, and the coyote, they dig that and they feast on it before they go into hibernation. Ooh, it's really blowing. I say prayers that the bears, that they hibernate good and they wake up and they have plenty to eat. I say prayers that those berries blossom and then reignite that treaty with the coyote, with the boxique, that you know, that by June or July, with the first ripe berry, you pray again. You say the prayer. You put it in the black dirt. So think about the black dirt, you know, and if you're in a place, sometimes there's too much asphalt, there's too much cement, but just look for the place where the trees, the one-legged, when you pray for the 4-legged, the 2-legged, and the 1-legged, the trees, find right there where it's growing, and that's a good place to pray for the earth. So I can feel the energy of the earth turning into winter. Earlier you couldn't see across the lake. It was like blowing blizzard almost. But now I can see across the lake, so I'm very grateful. because I'm going to head into Browning to go check on my mom when we're done with our training at 5 today. So welcome to Native Wellness Institute. If you go to www.nativewellness.com, you can see our events that are coming up. We have a free training in January 5th. It's called The New Year and the New You. So go ahead and register. And it's always, we get all kinds of people from different countries. There's 574 tribes in the lower 48. We get a lot of village people from Alaska, not the village people who sing, eh? They can come too. They can register too. We get a lot of the Métis, a lot of the First Nations. I mean, in British Columbia, there's like 260 entities of nations just there. I was like, God, there must be thousands and thousands being in Ontario and seeing all of the diversity of the Ojibwe or Anishinaabeg, and then of course, we have our people here, all the way up to Banff and higher, all the way Saskatchewan, all the way down to Wyoming. But in this area, there's a lot of Blackfoot, Niitsitapi. And then we have outsiders who came to Blackfoot territory. Pray for that. Pray for that the earth helps people reconcile, that there is an evenness, that there is an integration of cooperation, and that it isn't lateral violence between people, that it isn't lateral violence between nations. Because today, in 2025 and going into 2026, those prophecies of like when the condor meets the eagle, that is happening when the southern continents of America, Brazil, Peru, all of Mexico meets the condor. That's their sacred bird. That condor feather meets the eagle. And so everyone, the eagle clan, the pita, the spotted eagle, all of that, when they meet each other and get along and help each other, that's the prophecy. Woohoo! So welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. I was this morning, my sister Lori, she always gets me these badass affirmation cards. And so when I light my smudge and I started a fire, I pulled out this card. And it says, I'm just getting started with my greatness. Hey! So I love my sister because these are badass affirmation cards. And so the greatness is not necessarily ego, edge God out, EGO, edge God out. It's greatness with helping your people. So how are you doing with helping your people? How's your greatness helping your people? How is your greatness with helping your earth? I mean, simple things like recycling, simple things like not smoking toxic tobacco, and killing people with secondhand smoke. How is your greatness? So one of the things to think about in your greatness with the earth, I can remember with Buster Yellow Kidney, it was so hot. It was just hot that one year. What we learned because of the heat, because you can't eat food and you can't drink water, is that the earth will heal you and cool you off. So we used to dig where we danced, and if we got a few minutes break, we would dig in the black dirt and then would slip our feet in that black dirt and cover it with black dirt, and that would cool you off. And you didn't feel, because when you're fasting, the top of your mouth goes dry You feel like like it's so dry. You can't even swallow. There's no spit when you're fasting. Like that. But when you slip your foot into Sakum, the earth, that black earth, anytime you lay on the earth, but you put your feet, you self-regulate. If you just kick off your shoes and even walking on the snow, or you kick off your shoes and you walk on the grass, the bottom of your feet, that energy from the bottom of your feet will self-regulate you, and the energy will just run up into your body and you'll feel good. You'll feel content. You'll feel comfortable. So welcome to Native Wellness Institute. We're just talking about our healthy relationship with our earth. And, respecting all of that lives on the earth. Everything has energy. Every winged, every bug, every loons, every, I live with the beavers here. I watch the beavers these 4 seasons. So it's respecting and doing protocol all of these 4 seasons. And then the moon, and then the sun, respecting the new moon, the slice, respecting the full moon, respecting solstice and equinox. I know last night I went, when we were done training, it was already dark. So I ate some elk, and I prayed. We got 2 elk, and it was processed. So I took a big hunk of elk hamburger because it has fat in it, and I love elk fat. And I had baked it, and I remember just eating it and thanking the earth for taking care of Ponaka, the elk. Thanking the earth for taking care of our buffalo. Thanking the earth for taking care of our mule deer. Thanking the earth for taking care of, I ran into 7, 8 grouse just up this way. There's a grouse res right up here. And they weren't expecting to see me because no one lives here in the winter except me, I guess. That's why I'm a badass, because I live here all year round. The rest, they're like snowbirds. They go hide somewhere where you turn on the heat like this. Hey, no, I'm not going to judge anyone else, but think about that when you slide your feet, because the bottom of your feet can take a lot of good energy. My mother always harvests bear fat, bear tallow, bear fat. And so she just transferred that to now my sister Lori. So I have a big jar of bear fat. And they said in the winter to fortify your lungs, you should put that bear fat on the bottom of your feet and then put a little cayenne pepper. And what that does, all the medicine is absorbed. If this was your foot, it's absorbed. All of the energy goes up and it fortifies your lungs, and you don't get sick. You don't get COVID, flu, bronchitis, pneumonia. You get well. And that Minigupi that out here, that's a good breathing medicine. Bear root, that's another good breathing medicine. So think of, what does your feet touch? There's Monique, I hope you're on here. She's a traditional practitioner healer, does Lomi, and she fixes your body with her feet. She actually, does the front of you, does, your back, and she cracks all your bones. She does your spinal cord with her feet. She does she knows my body, so she's always doing this stuff. But when she's done, it gets rid of all the toxins. So, but think about, even if you did this, reflexology, but even if you did this each day, is put the energy between your toes. My mother said, at night, massages all of her toes. She massages between her toes. And she thanks her toes and her feet for getting her around. Thank every part of your body. But when your body, that healthy relationship, walk often on the sand. Walk often. You don't have to run on the gravel. That's true resiliency. Running across the gravel barefoot, right? But just think about how like right now, shoot, I got mucks on and some real thick wool socks. So my feet are protected because I don't think it's close to 0 Fahrenheit, but it looks pretty chilly out there. You can see your breath, and I'm looking at it's starting to freeze. I always put a basin of water out there. My mom mixes her dough in that, but I leave water because you don't need to find out about the weather on some screen. You just look at that water. When it's frozen, it's cold. And when it's liquid, like it rained all night, I was looking at it. You can see the water, the rain is going like this, and the water in the basin moves like this. So that means, got a lot of water to water all the plants, the minagapi, the berry plants. All of the medicines is being blessed by water. And that basin, I don't know. I guess I grew up that way. You always just leave it out there, and then when it thaws out, the weather's shifting, so it's above 32 Fahrenheit. But then the blessing of it is watering on my plants. I got a new tobacco plant growing. I got a poinsettia that I've had for I think 6 or 7 years now, and so I went out and I got the rain in that basin. So you capture the water in that basin, and I got the water, and I went around to each of my plants and gave them a blessing and said, Ishtabatapiyo gave you this water. It fell from the sky. It's pure. And I watered all my plants. Then it froze up again. Then when it unthawed, it got warm again. So that's that roller coaster of our weather. Our earth is shifting. Our earth is changing, the axes. So I watered again, and so you'll have to say some prayers. I'm going to head in, blizzard or not, War Pony and I are going to, in the morning, we're going to go over for a dental appointment at Kalispell. Yeah, anyway, I'm taking care of, because dental health is so important. So I'm heading over there because the IHS, they can't see me till the 29th or whatever. So got to pay out of pocket. So say a prayer. It's hard. Good thing I have some savings. Hey, robbed a bank. Hey, no. Good thing I have some savings for, they say, a rainy day. But I'm going to go over for a dental appointment. I'm going to be picking up one of my cousins in East Glacier because of the wind, they've been without Wi-Fi, and they've been without, none of their iPhones work because a cell tower was knocked down by the wind, and they can't repair it. They can't even, it's way deep in there, and they can't even get helicopters because the wind was going to, those helicopters. That's how badass the weather. The earth is talking to us. It's not bad. You just have to say your prayers and be cautious. And if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. We all got an expiration date. No one's going to be here forever. So get used to saying your prayers and doing your ceremonies and talking to the earth, and things will be okay. You won't fear death. You'll know that you just cross over and you're still alive, and you can do a lot when you're on the other side. You can come back, and if all of your descendants ask you for help, you get to help them. There's all kinds of things you can do on the other side. So the earth, how do we maintain this healthy relationship with the earth? It's things like, I was drinking earlier. I drink these green machines a little at a time, maybe this much one day, this much. But say if this was a bottle of captured water, one of the first things when you open water or you go out, like even with that rainwater, I grabbed some of it with my hand and I dripped it and I gave my ancestors a drink. So take your water and give your ancestors a drink by pouring a little in, preferably into the black dirt. But sometimes if you only stay in hotels, because I see some of you posting you only live in a hotel, just take a couple drips and symbolically drip it, and you give your ancestors a drink. Just like when you make a spirit plate, whatever you're eating, you smudge it and you feed them. If you feed your ancestors often, everything will go good. Everything will go okay. So, in another way, I remember the first time, this will be 22 years ago, that I was invited to go to Aotearoa. That's the New Zealand. It means the big giant cloud over the island, Aotearoa. Kia ora. That means oki, like hello. I remember when I met with the elders and they asked, one of their first questions to the tribes in the Americas, in Canada, in lower 48, was how are you treating the water and how are you taking care of the water? And that was, that can catch you off guard. Like, how are you taking care of the water? And one of the elders said there's levels. There's the water people at the 4th level. So you should always take Gaksami sage. There's 38 kinds of sage, and you should put some sage into the water and ask that it stays clean at the 4th level. Because sometimes I guess there's pollution and it strangles the water, and the water can't thrive and be clean. So say that prayer. You could take care of the earth. Just put some sage in the water. Sage will do a lot of things. Put it in your shoe. Put it in your mouth when you talk, that only lateral kindness words come out. Not too much sarcasm. Because sometimes, like we have they're wicked humor, eh? Don't be so hard with wicked humor, because wicked humor could be lateral violence, okay? Hear that, Red Gun? Hey! Anyway, this taking care of the earth with water, when we were there in Aotearoa in New Zealand, the elders were saying, when you come over here, bring some of your holy water and pour it into our holy water. And then take some of the water from here, our holy water, and then pour it into your holy water. So, like I said, even one year, I took a bottle and I stuffed snow into it. And I took it over when we were around Auckland, and we were going to Hamilton, and we were going up to the north part of the island. And we went out, and I took that bottle and I put some of the holy water from here in the holy water there. Then I took the water bottle and I scooped water from New Zealand and I brought it back here and I put it in lakes inside Lower St. Mary's, below Chief Mountain, below Triple Divide. And this is what they said. This is taking care of our earth. The water will talk to the water, and the water will re-correct the water on the globe, on the earth. And that means it will help, because we drink water going to the people. When you take care of the water on the earth, you take care of everybody who drinks water, the 4-legged, the 2-legged, and the 1-legged. And that water will and it will recorrect to healthiness. So there's another way to have a healthier relationship with our earth. It's often, and sometimes, just bring water. I was just thinking this rainwater, capture the rainwater. It's free water, and you'll never be without water. And because sometimes in this area, as the earth is shifting, some of the wells were going dry, and the well's doing good right now, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy because it started to seem like it was going dry, and I thought, well, I grew up hauling water. I grew up that way, no problem. But I was just thinking to myself, I've been living here 31 years and my well has been doing good. But it's doing good right now. And so is the lake. If you go out and you see the lake, it's full. It's like a giant bathtub of glacier water. The water's clean. You can drink it, and it's high. Like it's not breaching, I'm glad there's an incline, but the water on the earth is asking you to pray for it. The water on earth is asking you to put the tobacco in it. The water on earth is asking you to put the guxami, the sage in it. So that's how you make sure your relationship. So think about that. Even with people, places, and things, your favorite places, go drive there. Put some sage and some tobacco in the earth. I like to go for my sludge box. I go get badger dirt on the south side where I grew up near Hart Butte. And there's all kinds of places if you kind of go off. There's Little Badger and Big Badger. And near Little Badger, you can go and there's all kinds of badgers. And where they dig the hole, you get that black badger dirt. But one time, 3 winters ago, I had a badger live outside underneath the deck. And it was, even the fox was scared of the badger. That badger is badass. But when he was digging around down there, I thought, wow, I got my own black badger dirt right outside the door. So, anyway, but think about, this healthy relationship with the earth. If we have this healthy relationship with the earth and a healthier relationship with ourselves, then we show up to have healthier relationships with everything else. All human beings, whether it's our romantic partner, whether it's even our exes, have forgiveness. If you carry grudges against your exes, and some exes, they just need to be. No. But if you let go, and so that letting go, the earth can help you do that. Let go of that. Don't carry the resentments and don't carry the grudges, because that lateral violence of Indian family that's always grudging on each other, that's what's messing up our children. That's what's causing our children to leave the earth, is by us not reconciling. So begin to have forgiveness. And forgiveness, Avis Archambault, she always gives me these Wonder Womans. And she would always talk about forgiveness. So her wise words, Avis Archambault, and she's 88 years old. She dances at Mount Hood. She just danced her 44th year Sundance, Lakota style, Assiniboine at Mount Hood. But she said with forgiveness, there's baby steps to forgiveness. And some of those baby steps, and I always think that maybe is rather than the full forgiveness right away, is you just let it be. You let it be. That's like a baby step to forgiveness. And so, if you have someone that that is toxic or that has hurt you, because hurt people, is wounded people, hurt people, is just to let it be. Don't think about it. Don't go around them. Don't interact so that you're hurt again. But Avis, so I'll share a story with you, and I think I've shared it one time before. The reason Avis gives me these Wonder Woman is when she was a little girl on the Fort Belknap Reservation, there was a Japanese internment camp, and she was about 7 years old. So that's, 81 years ago. They had an internment camp, which means a prison for Japanese people, because they thought all Japanese people were bad. They judged all one race because of some Japanese that bombed Pearl Harbor. Okay, so when she was 7 years old, she loved Wonder Woman because at that time there was, for little Indian girls, they wanted heroes, and Wonder Woman stuck out as a hero. So she got a Halloween outfit, but she just wore it all the time. So Avis Archambault would wear, and you can pose this one to, I play with it like she's running, putting up her fist. Anyway, Avis would always be riding her bike, and she was forever working on her bike and riding it around the res. And here she saw the internment camp, and she didn't know what it was. So, but she could feel the energy there. So she laid her bike down. She got down on her belly, and she crawled. She crawled to the internment camp, and she peeked up, and she looked up, and there was a fence, and there were soldiers on the outside, and it frightened her, so she left. And then she went home. She told her grandma, who was taking care of her, because her mom had went to go work in the shipyards in the Seattle area, and her baby brother's John Spence. He was just a baby. But her grandma said, well, she said, Grandma, there's these people locked up like they're in jail. And her grandma said, well, what do they look like? And she goes, they look like this. And she said, and then there's some soldiers. There's some soldiers, but they're talking. They're not talking Assiniboine. They're not talking White Clay. They're talking something else. And they talk a different language than the ones that are in that prison. And that's, those, when you're a prisoner of war, usually your guards, they put them so that they don't speak the same language, so you don't develop no relationships. Remember that. That's why they just want you to speak English, eh? So learn your language. Well, she said that anyway, that she went there again because she was so curious. So she crawled on her belly. And here, right when she got to the fence, she looked up and there was a soldier's gun. And she looked up and I go, well, what'd you do, Amos? What'd you do? And she goes, I reached in my pocket and I offered them some of my juicy fruit. She reached in her pocket and she offered them some of her juicy fruit. So, and then what happened is they made friends. She made friends. Her grandma invited those. They were Puerto Rican. They were speaking Puerto Rican soldiers to guard those Japanese prisoners of war 81 years ago on the Fort Belknap Reservation. And so they were invited, and the grandma would cook for them. Again, another ceremony. To cook is a ceremony, a precious ceremony. When you gift and cook for people, that's one of the greatest gifts you can give. So she would, make her good bannock, fry her potted meat. She would cook her roasts, and she would feed these soldiers, and they would be so happy because they were a long way from home. And so they would sing. And in this story that Avis Archambault shared with me, they would start singing, and there was a guitar. They would sing their songs. And Avis and she's a singer. She's a beautiful voice. She loves to sing Lakota, Takashala songs, eh? And she just loves, she's a beautiful voice. And so she learned all those songs. And when she was telling me the story, all these years, 70 years later, she could sing those songs that she learned from those Puerto Rican people that didn't feel lonesome and were so far away from their people. And so I share that with you because think about, Puerto Rican people have their ceremonies and Japanese people have their ceremonies with the earth. Every culture has ceremonies to have a healthier relationship with the earth. We just got to remember the ceremonies, and it's kind of like you could tell when there is a lack of that awareness, that's how people, when they throw garbage out, when they throw garbage, especially beer cans, knock it off. Knock it off. Quit littering. Don't clean up when you camp. When you're on the earth and you camp, when you leave it just like you found it, nice and clean, no garbage. Put out your tobacco where you're camping. That tobacco, man, the tobacco prayers are just the highest prayers that you can have, and that you can help the earth if you put out that tobacco on the earth. Now, I just wanted to come to you today. I'm going to be moseying back to our Zoom training. Again, we have some online. Most of our training is going to be in person. We're doing the Healthy Relationship Training of Trainers at Barbie's Village, February 10, 11th, and 12th. Our team will be there. I'll be one of the team members in case you want to register. But I just want to take you out for a moment to tell you to be grateful. I'm grateful that some of the snow is blowing off the roof. The old kayak is upside down, almost covered with the snow. The snow, look at this will be green grass. Look at the wind on the water. Look how beautiful it is. See the sapu, the wind is talking to the water. Can you hear it? The wind, there's white capping of waves out there. It's snowing lightly here. Divide Mountain, it's snowing across the water. It was raining all night. This was all wet, and now it's turned to snow. In the north, that's Bab area up there. Just a few more miles is Cardston, Alberta. You're looking north. I just like to, sometimes to self-regulate. Gene Tagabon was saying, just go out and let the snow fall on your face. Walk in the snow. You can self-regulate with cold. Let it fall on your face. Smudge with the snow. One of the greatest gifts you can have is to smudge with the snow. Smudge with the rain that falls. Let it fall on your face. Let it bless you. Stabatapi no gaikimokit no gaspomokit. My favorite thing to pray. Pity me. Help me. Stabatapi. Help all of our people with our earth adjusting. You can see, look at the trees, they're blowing. Starting to get a little bit of wind. Lower St. Mary's, the island over there. Right up there underneath the water is a beaver lodge. So we're just coming to you. We come to you every Wednesday with something positive, productive, and proactive. We hope that this uplifted you today. I just want to say from my hand to my heart, I very much respect that you listen every Wednesday. This is a give back to Istabatapi for all the gratitude of what he has given my family and my tribe and a confederacy. This is my give back to come on here every Wednesday, rain or shine, and here we are. Oh, it feels so good. This feels so good. But if I stood out here too long, I'd freeze like like that Wonder Woman. So I just wanted to invite you just to show you what's going on. Whee, that wind. I could feel the wind. Sapu. The wind is blowing everything that's not good away, too. It's blowing away all those lateral violence, silent treatment, talking bad about your cousins, talking bad about your councilman. Knock that off. Help your councilman. Native fighting native is lateral violence. Knock that off. Yeah, see that wind? Ooh, it's making a pattern. It's the water saying hello to you, saying "Okie." So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna get back on our Zoom training. I really appreciate all of you. Nistu Nidanaku Mokoyo Sukoi. My second Blackfoot name. Roger Prairie Chicken Shoe Dance and Charlene Plume Prairie Chicken renamed me that 2017 because of a dream. Nistu, my first name was Okstukama. Atstanikiwa Agnes Ironpipe named me that. It means the characteristics of the black mole on the prairie. So I'm just coming to you as a board member and as a trainer and as a dedicated person to Native Wellness Institute. And we're in restructuring and it's going good. So we'll see you next Wednesday.